Let's talk about the confluence of events going on in Canberra at the moment when it comes to net zero. I had a really interesting discussion with Simon Welsh from Redbridge Group. Of course, he doesn't look at the policy aspect, he looks at what the politics is doing and what voters are telling him. This is what he had to say.
The problem that the Liberal Party has created for itself is it hasn't done that policy work first. So it hasn't come to the market and said, look, we've got this alternative approach. Here it is. We think it'd be better for these reasons or that reason. So what the voters are picking up is just simply that we want to get rid of net zero. And that's what I mean by when I say they're not hearing, hey, we've got a better plan for climate and this is it. What they're hearing is we don't want to have a plan for climate because they haven't done that kind of policy work first, exactly as you've talked about.
Yeah, so what he's talking about there is that all voters are hearing is we don't want to do anything on climate change, not we have an alternative plan. And that's where it really hurts them.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be frank, you know, the problem with the coalition on this is that they don't start from nowhere, do they? With a lot of people, they've done, a lot of people in the coalition, particularly in the National Party, spent a very, very, very long time telling people that they basically thought that the whole climate change thing was nonsense, right? So they're not starting with many voters from a strong position on this issue. They were then brought to net zero by Scott Morrison, essentially because he was convinced that they had to do it. But there was always this sense that, well, we're doing it and we have to do it, but they don't really believe it. They never really wanted to be there. People know that, and so it's not really surprising, massively surprising, that they should then turn around and say, well, we're at the first opportunity, walk away from it. Now, on paper, the National Party saying, well, we've got, you know, yeah, we don't want net zero, but we've got all these other great plans and we are serious about this. Yeah, maybe, but a lot of the people are just going to say, well, really? Like, we know you didn't like this. You spent years, you know, handing lumps of coal around Parliament saying, and you thought that was a tremendous wheeze at the time. Also, you've got to look at the people they need to win back, right? Like, it's both geographical and generational. Geographical in the sense that they've almost been completely wiped out of the cities, and now, and the first thing that a lot of voters are going to see about the coalition is that they're being driven by the National Party. Well, that's a good look, isn't it? The second thing to say is it's generational in that you now have a huge cohort of millennials and Gen Z. At each election, the share of the vote that they have gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the percentage of Gen Xers and Boomers and older gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And when you look at what the younger generations think about this, it's iconic. It's religious. It's not. Yeah. It's impervious to argument. So, and if one thing you know about life is that you don't try and argue with people's religion. And so the Liberal Party and the National Party can argue about whether or not they do or don't, how much they want to do, or we say we still believe it. But if the young people who are going to decide who is the government, that think that they're not in earnest about this, they're just not going to get a look at them. I mean, Redbridge has got the Liberal Party, I think, on 13% with Gen Z women at the moment, and
13.
Is that 13? I think that's what it is. I've seen other things, that on the Liberal Party with Gen Z women is not that much more unpopular than Donald Trump, right? And so if you think that going forward, if they're going to have a future, they've got to improve their lot with these people, is this something they should be starting with? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
Do you think Susan Lee survives?
No, I don't.
Who next?
I think they've moved past her in a sense. Sorry?
Who next then?
I think it'll be Taylor. I think Hastie's just been too weird. I think the mods, he's done three things that have really given the mods irrits. The attack on the central planning stuff was weird. The immigration stuff they didn't like. But they're incandescently annoyed with him about intervening in that baby prayer thing last week.
Totally.
Bringing in late-term abortion into a bill that was designed to, help couples that suffer stillborns. I mean, I think a lot of they just think that was odd and self-indulgent. I think the winner out of the Andrew Hastie, kind of roadshow of the last month has been Angus Taylor.
Well, we will see. I think you're right with that. That went into very strange areas. And just for clarity, James, it was him bringing into this basically payments to help couples who have stillborn babies so they don't have to rush back to work. His vague suggestion was that that women might then be encouraged to have late-term abortions. That's pretty much the flavour of it, isn't it?
It was that to be more charitable, perhaps he was saying that the bill needed to be tightened so that it didn't apply in those circumstances. But it just felt it was against the whole spirit of the rest of the House. I mean, it was one of those rare moments where there was unanimity, and he and I think it was Passon and Joyce and I. The third, the other speaker's name escapes me, introduced a note that really annoys. But I was told, a couple of people have said to me that there wasn't a coalition woman who wasn't steaming about that.
Yeah, okay. I've got to ask Barnaby about that next time. James, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.